we made it to the train station.
Gonna be a day.
You know what? Here's what I say. An unprecedented election calls for unprecedented storytelling, right?
Just point me in the right direction.
Why don't we put it down right over here? This is prime real estate.
All right, I am ready to spin the wheel, make the deal. Let's get it done.
Let's do it.
Power and politics, wheel of knowledge. Step right up.
We want to find out how much people really know about the races. Hi guys.
Hello.
Spin the wheel. We're going to test your political knowledge this afternoon.
It's not great, but we'll try.
Who's your current state senator? Kathy Hochul.
Kathy Hochul would be the governor.
Schumer?
Don't know.
Bill Murphy. I live in New Jersey.
The governor.
What?
What congressional district is
I have no idea.
What district do you live in? I'm in Westchester. Is that 38? Like, that's a total guess.
Who represents you in Congress, sir?
Me.
What day is the congressional primary this summer?
I don't know, and I should know.
23rd.
You are the
Amazing.
first person to get that answer right today. All right, one down, one right. Who is running for office in your congressional district? I don't know.
What is a primary? Isn't it like the main debates in the when it comes to like the time for elections? They usually happen. Like, there are a few of them.
It's the election before the election for your party.
I believe that they start off with like more people, and then as more candidates drop out, they get less.
I'm gonna let you spin again because you seem like a nice guy.
Thank you. I guess that's totally wrong though.
Yikes. That was rough.
It was. Clearly, we've got a lot of work to do,
Yeah, we
Kurt.
really do. Let's get to it.
Yep. Welcome to a special edition of Vote 2022, Take Two. I'm Tara Rosenblum.
And I'm Kurt Semder. Nice day for a stroll. Here we are. Nice,
Yeah.
warm day here today. And
It's
of
beautiful.
course, it really is. Why don't we take a walk?
Let's do it. Let's take a stroll because you know what? It's summertime in New York and there's nothing better. From our barbecues to our legendary beaches,
Yep.
the heat.
Yeah, that's true. But you got the sweaty commute. You also got the power outages. You can't forget about the sharks either. Can't forget
Did
about
he
the sharks.
just mention the sharks?
Yeah, of course I did. You can't forget the sharks.
Okay, in addition to all of that, New Yorkers are also being asked to add one more thing to their already busy summer schedules.
What's that?
Voting!
Oh, right, voting. We had all that redistricting drama, those new
Yes.
maps, everything like that. And as a result, we got more primary elections coming this month. We had the
Yeah.
U.S. House of Representatives,
Yeah.
New York State Senate, and now those are moved from June to August.
Yeah, you know, it all led to a whole lot of confusion, and you just saw a small sampling of that. But don't worry, we've got you covered. We're going to break down all these races for you and tell you everything you need to know.
That's right. We got a lot to get to in this half hour. So what do you say? Let's get to it?
Let's do it.
All right, we begin in the Hudson Valley, where two Democrats are fighting it out in the newly redistricted 17th congressional district.
And we started with this race, Kurt, right? Because this is a race that's getting a lot of national attention.
time.
And that is because of the connection that the incumbent, Sean Patrick Maloney, has to the National Democratic Party. His challenger in this race is State Senator Alessandra Biaggi. The question is, which one of them is going to come out on top?
It's a major district shakeup and things are getting heated.
Her positions certainly raise a question of whether she can run in a highly competitive district.
I thought it was self-serving.
The newly redrawn 17th congressional seat, now a high-stakes battleground between a progressive rising star
People want leaders who are going to deliver for them.
and New York's first openly gay member of Congress.
I've had to beat a Republican 5 times, and that wasn't given for a gay guy with an interracial family.
Congressman Sean Patrick Maloney is also the leader of the House Democrats' campaign arm, whose primary role is to protect the party's House majority. But first, he has to fend off a primary challenge from the left on new home turf.
There are Democrats who want to focus on other Democrats. That's their right. I'm focused on beating dangerous MAGA Republicans.
Maloney made the decision to jump out of the race for the 18th district, which he currently serves, after his home in Cold Spring got tossed into the 17th district, anchored further south in Westchester.
I think it's very important to run where you live.
But his decision outraged the progressives because it sent current Congressman Mondaire Jones packing his bags to run for another seat in Lower Manhattan. Now State Senator Alessandra Biaggi is fighting back.
I thought it was selfish.
Biaggi has taken on establishment candidates before, ousting Senator Jeff Klein from office back in 2018. And while she doesn't live in the new 17th district, Biaggi is hoping her progressive agenda on issues like the environment will take her from Albany to Washington.
This is a district that has already elected a progressive to represent them, and that is exactly what my record shows.
But she's up against a campaign juggernaut. Maloney, who has worked in the Clinton White House and under 2 New York governors, is ahead in the polls, fundraising, and party endorsements, with heavy hitters like former Congresswoman Nita Lowey arguing he's the most qualified to lead.
It's a broad and diverse coalition of support.
I am familiar with being an underdog. I mean, I'm feeling really good about the race.
Now, Republican voters in the 17th district have a primary as well, a 5-person showdown to determine who moves on to the general election in November. All right, turning to Brooklyn and Lower Manhattan now, the brand new New York 10. And this race here, 13 candidates on the ballot initially. However, one of them dropping out, that being former New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio.
So that's pretty simple political math there, right? That leaves a dozen candidates for voters to pick from.
We like 12.
And we do. And there's some heavy hitters on this list, right, Kurt? We've got a congressman, we've got a New York City councilwoman, and 2 members of the state assembly.
Absolutely. We were able to speak with 3 of the top 4 fundraisers on the ballot to find out what they feel they would offer this new district.
We can be a leader, us here in NY10, defining an urban agenda for the whole country, investing in mass transit, climate resiliency measures, more housing supply to address the affordability crisis, and so much more. So I've taken some bold stances. I think I've done some things that people can really not just see, but understand this long-term vision.
When I led the impeachment investigation, I used different and creative tactics to take on Trump and the Republicans and prove the case. And I am uniquely qualified to take on Trump and the Republicans to defend and protect our democracy, but also to use that same creativity to move forward with our important priorities and to actually get results in Washington.
Every single thing that I do, every policy I approach, I'm always looking through a racial justice lens, an economic justice lens, an environmental justice lens, a socioeconomic justice lens, right? And also through a disability lens. And I think that it's really important for us to always make sure that we are pushing that needle just a little bit further so that our government is more accessible and more just and more equitable for everyone.
There are a lot of names to choose from here in this crowded congressional race.
Yeah, we're going to see who the voters pick later this month. However, these new lines, well, they created quite the mess for Democrats in Manhattan. Jerry Nadler and Carolyn Maloney, both with over 30 years of experience in D.C., well, they're now running against each other in this August primary.
And Kurt, this race is just fascinating. This is like the clash of the titans here, right? Because both of these candidates hold a lot of power in Washington. Maloney chairs the Oversight Committee, while Nadler is the chair of the House Judiciary Committee. Come next year, of course, one of them will be out of the job. And another competitive race that we're following closely takes us to Long Island, where voters are deciding who Tom Suozzi's successor should be.
Yes, Suozzi, of course, ran for governor earlier this year instead of running for re-election. And now voters in that district, well, they have plenty of candidates to pick from.
With low voter turnout expected for New York's first ever August primary, the crowded Democratic race for the open 3rd Congressional District in Nassau County is shaping up to be a real nail-biter. Voters have their pick of 5 candidates hoping to replace Tom Suozzi, and they come from all sides of the political aisle. On the left, Port Washington progressive organizer Melanie DiRigo is in the running.
We have the collective power to help everyone.
Along with first-time candidate and small businesswoman Rima Rasool from Oyster Bay.
I am really sick and tired of the reality show antics that the political class has made our government.
Moving to the middle.
People define progressive as defund the police and socialism and anti-Israel That doesn't suit me.
There's businessman and Democratic National Committee veteran Robert Zimmerman, who has earned the lion's share of his party's endorsements, including the recent backing of Hillary Clinton.
They know of my dedication, and they know of my ability to get results.
Suffolk Deputy County Executive John Kamen is also touting his decades of political experience.
I've been a judge. I've worked for Governor Cuomo for a number of years doing Sandy relief.
But the candidate, Congressman Tom Suozzi, thinks is best suited for the district is the most conservative voice in the pack, three-term Nassau County legislator Josh Lafazan, who became the youngest elected official in New York State after winning a seat on the Syosset School Board a few weeks before his high school senior prom.
I bring with me an experience of getting things done. I bring with me a tenacity to fight through the partisan logjam and bring Republicans and Democrats together.
And boy, oh boy, are things getting heated down in the 16th Congressional District, which covers parts of Westchester County down to the Bronx. Kurt's territory.
Yeah, absolutely. Incumbent Jamal Bowman representing there, and he's being challenged by a pair of Westchester County legislators, Vedat Ghashi and Catherine F. Parker. This kind of turning into a little bit of a tug of war between the moderates and the progressives.
People should not be in prison because they cannot afford bail, number one. Number two, when someone is released and not incarcerated because of bail or because of minor offenses, we need to surround them with resources so they don't then commit crime in the first place.
Starting with the infrastructure bill. It's a $1.5 trillion infrastructure bill, right? We have a struggling economy and failing infrastructure. That would address both. This is important to get that passed. It's historic, it's generational, and he voted against it.
On policy, we need somebody who's going to be with us. And part of policy at the federal level that we have seen Congressman Bowman not with us, when it comes to policy on Israel, he's really not been with us. When it comes to helping Ukraine with defense dollars, he's not been with us.
All right, we are just getting started here on Power and Politics. Many more races to watch in this August primary,
including a congressional clash in Brooklyn that could have national ramifications for the balance of power in the House. Vote 2022, Take Two rolls on in just a bit.
Spin the wheel and be on News 12.
What day is the primary?
Didn't it already happen?
Who is running for Congress in your district?
I know who I'm not voting for.
What is my member of Congress? Why can I see his face? But you're asking for me on the spot. I'd rather have Mets or Yankees. That's the question.
Welcome back to Power and Politics Take Two. I'm Tara Rosenblum.
And I'm Kurt Semder. Shall we jump back in?
Let's do it.
We've got plenty to talk about, including the 11th district now. This is in southern Brooklyn and Staten Island. And since the last redistricting, they've had 3 Republicans and 1 Democrat represent the people of that district.
And initially, the first set of maps seemed to favor the Democrats, but now the new lines, well, they're going in the other direction.
Yeah, and it's left us here with a race that just 2 years ago was really the most heated one we had in all of New York City. And now what we've got is a potential rematch on the horizon in November. But we also have a primary contender who's looking to play spoiler. It's been 2 years since Republican Nicole Malliotakis unseated then Congressman Max Rose in his initial bid for re-election in New York's 11th congressional district. Now in 2022, Rose is back, looking to return the favor.
What's happening in this country? Public safety worries, inflation worries, worries about the economy, worries about the future of our country, and all these politicians are doing is playing to partisan divides, and they're not getting enough done.
The former representative and veteran believes the stakes here in this country couldn't be higher, which is why he decided to run for his old seat.
We deserve to have the largest middle class, deserve to have affordability, deserve to have everything from low gas prices to politicians who do not vote against a woman's right to make decisions about her own body.
But there's a chance the rematch may not happen.
At first I said, it's a terrible idea. I curse like a sailor. I say exactly what I think all the time.
Meet Brittany Ramos de Barros, an organizer, community advocate, and a veteran as well. She says she changed her mind about running in the Democratic primary after feeling checked out of both political parties.
I felt like neither of them was really fighting for working class people like me and families like mine.
De Barros is focused on issues like housing, Medicare for all, and climate change, which she says surprises some, but in this district, it shouldn't.
Every time there's a storm, our basements are underwater. You know, Staten Island and South Brooklyn are on the front lines of climate crisis, and yet there haven't been the infrastructure investments that are needed.
Rose DeBarros and educator Komi Agoda-Kosema make up the contenders in the Democratic primary. Meanwhile, on the Republican side, Representative Malliotakis is being challenged by healthcare worker turned activist John Matland. The Congresswoman is confident in her chances, mostly due to what she says is a record of bringing results to the community.
Not just in delivering necessary funding for the NYPD and for hospitals and for our community, but probably even more importantly at this critical time in our nation's history, for fighting back and stopping some of these ridiculous policies that we've seen come before us.
As for which candidate Representative Malliotakis would prefer to face in November if she wins in August.
To me, it's irrelevant who my opponent is in November because I'm running on my record. I'm running as somebody who supports law enforcement, that wants to see a secure border, that wants to get inflation in our economy back on track.
And with Representative Lee Zeldin running for New York State governor, the race to fill his seat is heating up amongst Republicans.
Nick Lalata, the chief of staff to the Suffolk County legislature, has had the support of Republican leaders for months now, but he's being challenged by cryptocurrency executive Michelle Bond and economic development executive Anthony Figliola.
I'm the son of a cop, the brother of a Marine, and after St. Anthony's High School, I went to the Naval Academy, wore the Navy uniform for 11 years, and served our great country on 3 overseas deployments. I'm endorsed by the Republican Party, the Conservative Party, and about 45 local Republican and Conservative elected and party officials in this race to succeed Lee Zeldin. I want to go to Congress to fight on the issues that matter most to Long Islanders. I want to fight inflation. I want to secure our border.
The person that I'm running against is a 4-time candidate, a 3-time loser who has been on the taxpayer dime since 2009. And what I really think is that we need to try something different. I have a very successful career in business. I focused on economic policy for many, many years. I'm a problem solver. I don't care who gets the credit.
I have the distinction of being the only candidate in this race that was born and raised here and that actually lives here in the district. I was born in raised in Rocky Point. My background is in economic development. I'm the son of 2 U.S. Navy veterans, and I work with small businesses that are trying to grow, and I help them get the capital financing to do that. And I've spent a career in this community helping to create thousands of jobs, protecting the environment, working with children with special needs.
Now, the primary election is not the only reason that Hudson Valley voters are going to be heading to the polls. In fact, got a special election on top of everything else. This in the 19th Congressional District to fill the seat vacated by Antonio Delgado once he became the state's new lieutenant governor. Now, you know what? Tara, you handle this. There's a lot going on in this one.
Not a problem, because this race really does get confusing.
Oh, yeah.
The redistricting process really did a number on the maps in the Hudson Valley. But let's break down Delgado's open seat for you, because we have 2 sitting county executives who are each considered the rising stars of their respective parties. On the Republican side of the aisle, you have the Dutchess County executive Mark Molinaro, who you might remember even ran for governor against Andrew Cuomo a few years ago. And the Democratic candidate in the race is Ulster County executive Pat Ryan.
We've got plenty of career politicians in Washington right now. What we need more of are leaders who've actually laid it on the line for our country, served in combat, built a business, united people during tough times. And that's what I've done throughout my life. I grew up in this district, born and raised in Kingston, 5th generation. And I proudly attended West Point, served our country in combat in Iraq, started a successful small business.
There is not a person in upstate New York or throughout this district that isn't feeling the pain of historic inflation, rising costs, from everything from home heating fuel to groceries, knowing full well that it's only going to get worse. We're in the early stages of a recession. Interest rates continue to rise. People are turning to their credit cards to make ends meet. Some people that never had to get on the line at a food pantry now have to because of policies and decisions out of Washington and Albany.
Okay, yes, we know we've thrown a lot at you about who you can vote for depending on where you live.
But how can you vote and when? We got everything you need to know. It's coming up when Vote 2022 Take 2 continues.
Welcome back. back. And now that you've met the candidates, here's everything else you need to know about the primary. Early voting is already underway and will run through August 21st. The locations for early voting may differ from your Election Day voting site, so make sure to double check. We've got you covered. We have resources posted on our website, news12.com, to help you find the early voting polling site in your neighborhood. Kurt.
And look, if you're unable to make the early voting period, the primary election will be on Tuesday, August 23rd. It's from 6 in the morning until 9 at night. Keep in mind, you can only vote for the party you're registered for, so only Democrats or Republicans will be able to cast their ballot in their respective party.
And if you're confused, we've got some silver linings for you. When the election is over, you won't have to hit the polls again until the general election, which falls on November 8th this year.
And of course, remember to join us on election night. We're going to be covering all of the races in your neighborhoods, from Long Island to Brooklyn to the Bronx, Westchester, Hudson Valley. We're going to be live at the headquarters for all of the top candidates starting at 9 p.m. on election night, once again, August 23rd.
Thanks for joining us for this special edition of Power and Politics. Take two.
That's right.
We hope to see you at the polls. I'm Tara Rosenblum.
And I'm Kurt Semder. A reminder for everybody, get out there and vote. Me, I'm going to go spin the wheel.
There he goes.